Leo University, a gorgeous sun-splashed morning. A beautiful morning for a jog. It'll be a little bit more than a jog for this Division II National Championship. Will Haskett with you. So happy to be a part of what is one of the greatest days in all of sport. 6 races across the NCAA. Today there'll be 12 champions with the men and the women all in play starting this morning. We've got them all covered for you here in the Division II and Division III level here on NCAA.com. Well, this Division II men's race, the men have the honor over the ladies today here in St. Leo. And one of the most fascinating sort of 1-2 punch combos that we're going to see going back and forth, including the RMAC rematch, if you will, between Adams State and the defending champions from Colorado Mines. Last year, sort of the final culmination of all of the work for the Ore Diggers over the last several years, turning all of those top 5 finishes into a national championship. But the rivals from the Grizzlies of Adams State, they want a little bit of a revenge, you would think, coming up into this national championship. The 11-time national champions will be poised after these two teams tied in the South Central Regional. The Colorado Mine Ore Diggers getting the victory versus via the tiebreaker in that one. So we will see exactly where things stand out between those two rivals. Certainly a number of other teams that want to be the spoiler in this one over the top 2 teams throughout the course of the season. Grand Valley State, Chico State, Alaska Anchorage was a close third a year ago. All 3 of those teams think that they have the depth to be able to be a spoiler and surprise the world in this race here today. On the individual side, we will be keeping our eyes squarely on what we expect to be a 2-man battle for that national championship. The sophomore from Shorter, Alfred Chilanga, who won this national championship a year ago, won the South Regional by 20 seconds. It was here at St. Leo, albeit on a different course, about a week and a half or so ago. He's going to try and hold off Vincent Kiprop, the sophomore from Missouri Southern. Two Kenyans that'll be going after it. He lost last year by 9 seconds on his home course in the national championship, but won the Central Regional by a minute 23 about a week and a half ago and has not lost this season. Neither Chilanga or Kiprop have lost a race here in 2016. So it feels as if, as these teams arrived on a beautiful morning, temperatures already in the 70s, will be rising into the 80s, that it was going to be a hot battle between the top 2 on both sides, from the team and the individual side. Colorado Mines and Adams State, you would figure to be the 2 probably going toe-to-toe for a national championship on the team side. Chilanga and Kiprop, 1-2, you would expect we will see as this 10K race plays out on the individual side. What will be the little wrinkles that are thrown into this race through the course of the morning? That is what is to be decided. Again, 10,000 meters for the best in Division II. You see the starter heading out into position to start. All of these runners, as you see lined up, plenty of width for these runners to get into position, and then they will not have to worry about narrowing down too much. It is a nearly 500-meter sprint, most of it uphill at this converted golf course layout at the Abbey course. Very simple layout for the runners to navigate today. It's about 2.5 loops around this property. They'll get a little bit of a right-hand turn and sort of hook their way to a modified finish line at the completion of this race. But very familiar. They'll cover the same terrain a full 2 times and then back around to complete the 10K layout. We're just a couple of seconds away from the beginning of this race, and the women to follow in what will be another great, and we expect, tight battle. Runners now, you see they're in position. And we are underway in the 2016 Division II Men's Cross Country Championship. And a very wide starting spot for these runners, and now they'll start to head up the hill. First 300-400 meters, especially as they get to this point, severely up the hill, so it slows the sprint just a little bit. But the course itself will pinch down very gradually, so there's not as much of a sense of urgency for the runners to have to take to that lead and get to that position. They can actually work their way up this hill, work their pace without having to worry about sliding down. Familiar green colors there of Adams State in the front. You'll see many of them in a pack, and you see the leaders already running by. That was Kiprop in the bright yellow from Missouri Southern. who was one of the first 5 or 6 to get off to a good sprint start at the beginning. Clean start, as we would expect, with really no struggles to get up to the top, and now on the flat they will work their way. It's about 700, 800 meters until we will make our first turn. That will be to the runner's right. And plenty of straightaway on this course. Very little in the way of change of direction until we'll see it on the first lap through at about the 2,000 meter mark, when we start to sort of hook through some of the trees, and again running along a golf course just off of the St. Leo campus. So it's Kiprop out to the early advantage there at the front. We'll see who wants to keep pace, but already you can see 5 or 6 runners that have taken it out here in the early going and distancing themselves from the pack behind them. So Kiprop there, Chalenga is right there off of the back of his left shoulder. Sydney Gitabude from Adams State, who has sort of taken the lead, I guess, of the last pack behind. He is electing to work with them. There you see him now actually separating just a little bit. He's in the middle between the lead pack and the pack back behind, and then everybody else pacing their way through. We will have split times for you throughout the course of this race. It was at the very first sprint. Again, it was 450 meters to the top of that first climb. Leke Kipkosoge from American International was the first to reach that, but now obviously we see Vincent Kiprop at the front of the pack. It has been a dominant fall for the sophomore from Missouri Southern. We mentioned he lost by a mere 9 seconds to Alfred Chalenga, who is certainly not going to let him out of his sight there off of the left-hand side. And there a good look at Gitabude from Adams State, who has now joined that lead group. And it's an interesting strategy situation, you would think, for the sophomore from Adams State, for the Grizzlies. The regional champion, the RMAC champion as well. He's won 3 of the 4 races he's entered this year. There we see that first right-hand turn as we've completed about 800 meters so far of this 2016 Division II Men's Championship. It's sort of an interesting, you would think, individual battle between 2 duos of runners. We talked about Chalenga and Kiprop, who were 1-2 respectively a year ago in this championship. But you look at Sydney Gitabude from Adams State and Nathaniel Williams from Colorado Mines, a 2-time All-American. They're the 2 lead runners for their respective teams and have been separated by just 2 seconds. 2-second victories by Gitabude in both the regional and the RMAC championship. You almost feel that if Williams can find a way to best the sophomore rival from Adams State, that it could be a big difference maker for Colorado Mines, who has beat Adams State in the 2 head-to-heads that have really counted. They tied, of course, in team score in that South Central Regional. But getting them at the RMAC Championship, where the Orediggers, with a very tidy score of 24, they placed 6 runners in the top 9 for their first conference title in program history. Gitabude has settled into 4th position, with Kiprop still maintaining the early pace. And Chalenga now has moved to his right shoulder, with Leke Kipkoske also one of those 4 in that lead group. We will have splits coming up at 1.3 kilometers. So that'll be right as the runners make a big 180-degree right-hand turn to come back from the position we find themselves running here through. So got a lot of separation there. You see familiar green as Adams State comes flying by. They've got 3 or 4 there near the lead of that pack, as you would expect to see. Colorado Mines in the dark green you saw, with 2 at the front of that lead pack. And we get those first splits coming up here in about 3 or 4 minutes. We'll have an idea of exactly where those runners have settled in. Chalenga pushing out wide just a little bit. looking for some pace on the outside. So 4 have taken the pace out, including Sydney Gitabude, who you figured had to be in the best position for Adams State, who comes in maybe just a slight underdog against their conference rivals from Colorado Mines, but they have the best runner of the two. And Gitabude is going to go ahead and run that hard early pace as they make that right-hand turn around. So Chilenga in the blue on the outside, and then you saw James Ngandu from Tiffin, who won the Midwest Regional, two-time GLIAC champ, is now in the green, and the 4 that are maintaining the early pace. So Chilenga, the taller runner, that long stride. Kiprop with the power move in the beginning. He is taking the lead at about 400 meters, has not given it up, and now Ngandu is taking his own look there on the outside. You got 3 Kenyans in Chilenga, Kiprop, and Ngandu. Gitabude, born in Orange, California. And you look at those runners right there. Of the 4 of them on your screen, 2 of them have not lost all year. In fact, all 4 of them are accustomed to winning races throughout the course of this season. Only one will be an individual champion at the end of the day. And if you're Sydney Gitabude, you'd love to try and pull the double, but you can see him sort of sagging off the pace ever so slightly at the back of these 4 runners right now. It's the interesting sort of mind game of the day for the sophomore leader from Adams State on a hot, still morning in West Central Florida. Don't want to use up too much energy here because most importantly for your team, yes, a win would be nice, but have to maintain that top 4 sort of finish for your teammates. Split starting to come in now at that 1.3 kilometer. Chico State right now shown in first position. The Wildcats 60 points with, again, in team positioning. We've got several individuals in this race, including Chilenga and company here at the front, James Ngandu from Tiffin as well, running as an individual in this race, so they don't count in terms of the numbers towards that team score. But the Wildcats of Chico State, runners in 3 in the top 10 right now, 4th, 9th, and 10th position, and 5 in the top 21. As you look at the splits for that team, it was William Reyes, who's won 4 times this year, 10th in the NCAA championship a year ago, who is pacing the way right now for the Wildcats of Chico State. He's currently in 5th position in the race, 4th in terms of the team counting. So an excellent start for Chico State, who we alluded to what Colorado Mines did a year ago in winning this championship, sort of the capper for what had been consistency but not yet a win. Chico State, in their 22nd appearance, they've been 3rd 3 times, 6th last year, but returned their top 3 runners, including Reyes, who we mentioned, Kyle Medina, who has been sensational this fall. He hasn't finished any worse than 7th in a race. He was 34th in this championship a year ago, but he's got a good run going. He's in the top 25 right now and getting a really good start from Aaron Mora, their senior, currently in 12th position, or shown in 12th position at that last split for the Wildcats, who are up on right now. It's Chico State first, CSU Pueblo in 2nd, Adams State shown in 3rd, Colorado Mines in 4th. But when you look at where the Ore Diggers find themselves right now, again, a more pack-dominated group. 19th, 23rd, 26th. They don't have anybody in the top 15 or so runners, which is what is making the difference right now for those in front of them, including Adams State, as we mentioned, shown in 3rd, and a big reason why, because Gitabude in 2nd in the team standings, because 2 of the 3 that you see on the screen right there in Chilenga and Ngandu not counting. Gitabude has settled into his own sort of world back there, about 5-6 seconds behind this leading trio. Still led by Vincent Kiprop, the sophomore from Missouri Southern. As they have made the turn past the starting line, we are now entering the 4K mark of this race as they will crest the top of this hill, come back down the property.
Yeah, good.
And now rising back.
Perfect, thanks.
To the top of the hill. There you see that long climb. They'll have to do that again. And you can see, looking all the way back at the runners that have made the turn behind that start-finish line. Still a big pack chasing, but plenty of separation from the top three, and Gitabude trying to just sort of settle into his own rhythm. He may even let the pack come back to him to preserve a little bit of energy and preserve his position. There you see him laboring just a little bit as he makes that climb. And there you see the run that is taking place right now for William Reyes. He's checked out from the rest of the pack from Chico State, helping them to a great start. Good run there for Zach Panning. Grand Valley State needs a lot out of him, but he's getting some help as well from his teammates there back behind. Keep an eye on Chris May. He's a senior, finished 4th in the regional. He's in bib number 136. The Lakers really needed someone to run with their sophomore Zach Panning. If they could get two guys that were sort of out leading the pack, it would give them a chance here in this race. There you can see the strained faces for those as they come up the top of that. You see the sweat dripping down the faces. Again, it is a early start, but a necessary early start to this Division II championship with the heat and the humidity. Temperatures already rising close to the 80-degree mark here in west central Florida. And the sweat glistening off the faces of these leading three runners. I mean, you've got, especially with Adams State, Colorado Mines, several of those elevation-dominated programs where they have come from 30, 40-degree temperatures and freezing conditions to compete in this championship. You wonder if a runner like Vincent Kiprop, who was able to win in warmer climate with Alfred Chalenga of Shorter there in the blue and white, he won the South Regional here in at St. Leo a week and a half ago. A little bit more accustomed, you would think, perhaps to the conditions, but again, you're looking at three Kenyan runners who have been born and raised and running in some of the most brutal of conditions halfway around the world. So no surprise, Chalenga, Kiprop, and Ngandu, the three at the lead. Kiprop has not surrendered that lead throughout the course of this race. Splits now coming in from 4.2 kilometers, which again was that sort of rise at the beginning of that straightaway. We should have the 5K splits here momentarily. And at 4.2 kilometers, Adams State now in front. Grand Valley State has pulled within two of them at that split. Again, we saw a lot of Laker love at the front. Chico State has fallen back into third despite the great run by William Reyes, who you saw just work past the screen. There comes Zach Panning. A big reason why you see GVSU there in perfect position, but he's getting a lot of help from his teammates in this one as well. Great run right now by Chris May. Presently registering a top 10 spot. That's the runner we said to look for. Zach Panning in 6th, May in 9th at that last split. So we reach the top of the property, and the runners will hook and turn back around. A little easier coming back down towards where that start began. They will have to do that climb one more time in navigating this course. And that may separate the contenders from the pretenders when we hook back around in about 8 or so minutes, when they will be completing roughly 7,000 meters and getting into the tail end of this race. Take a look through the back of the pack, and again, all of these deserving qualifiers that have made it here a chance to run for a national championship, even getting a couple of smiles to the camera as they come by. Back at the lead pack, nothing has changed between this leading trio. Do not anticipate that we will see any records falling here today given the heat, the elevation. It's been a long time since Shane Healy ran 28:04, the 10K Division II record that came all the way back in 1993. Vincent Kiprop had people thinking at the regional when he won the Central by 1:23. He's not going to check out, we don't imagine, by that length at all. It's like Chalenga got either clipped a little bit there by Ngannou behind him, but has settled back into a good stride and a good rhythm. Very much sort of a poker hand between these three right now. Does anybody want to bluff out fast? You see the fans scrambling for position. Fantastic layout for fans to be able to check out the action because of how close the course sort of weaves back around and towards itself. You can actually have some spots where you can see the action on both sides of you. Just about 50, 60 yards or so between some of these turns. As they now turn back around, and we'll head back down the hill for one more half pass at this layout before they'll turn into home. It'll allow us to take a look at the splits, the halfway mark. At that point in time, Ngannou had just nosed ahead. Obviously, Kiprop back there, but it's Ngannou, Kiprop, and Chalenga. At that 5K split, 14 minutes, 19.1 seconds was the pace. So again, if they're able to maintain that pace, you're looking at a 28.5 or so 10K. But again, with the heat and the temperatures, Ngannou has now fallen off the pace just a bit here, and it is turning into that two-man battle that we expected between Kiprop and Chalenga. 5K team splits. Adams State maintaining a 6-point edge over Grand Valley State. They gained a couple of spots, as the Grizzlies currently in 2nd, 9th, 14th, 15th, 31st, the top 5 counting runners. That second, a big one by Sidney Gitabude, who cannot see on your screen right now. He had fallen off of the pace of what was then a lead trio of runners. It is now a lead duo of runners. We'll see if in the very distance there we get a chance to see Gitabude. There you can just see him. He was just off the left-hand side of the screen, some 20, 30 seconds off the pace of the lead runners, but trying to maintain that 4th position on the racetrack, which is good for 2nd in the team calculated standings. You see very far off there in the distance, very top. It's just over the top of this gentleman's hat is where you can see the lead runner for the lead team right now in Sidney Gitabude. Ngannou had the lead at 5K. He has fallen off the pace. You can see him laboring there with the left arm as well. Gitabude, it's a good-looking stride right there. Even takes a look over to the left to see exactly how much room he has behind him before 2 runners now are there. That's William Reyes of Chico State. The Wildcats, who led at the early splits, have now fallen off a little bit. And Zach Panning, running with a race of his life, the sophomore so far, who was 5th in this race a year ago, has now drawn up with William Reyes. And the Lakers are in position, if Panning can get a little bit of help, if Adams State can give them a little bit of help, to perhaps snatch this championship away. Colorado Mines, by the way, is listed in 5th position right now. They need a lot of work coming in. No runner right now in the top 15 on the course. They are tight in there as a pack. As there you saw running by the screen, Joshua Joseph, the freshman for Adams State. In a good position. It was actually Kyle Masterson who was running by for Adams State. He's sort of leading that pack, as there you see that long run through that split. Another uphill climb for these runners, and it is really stretching this pack out. Heavy legs right now, just trying to dig through. At the front, no heavy legs between Kiprop and Chilanga. Both of these runners were in a very similar position last year as freshmen. It was Chilanga who would end up pulling away at the end by 9 seconds, and if you're Vincent Kiprop, you're maybe wondering, when will Chilanga try and make that move? Alfred Chilanga has not lost this season, neither has Vincent Kiprop, the man who he is stalking right now. Keep in mind that loss a year ago came on Missouri Southern's home course. Kiprop losing a national championship on a course he knew better than almost anybody else in the field. Waiting for splits to arrive at that 8,000 meter mark, which will give us our really best guess at seeing, will the defending champion Ore Diggers from Colorado Mines be on the move, or have they dug themselves too deep of a hole? Right now, Kiprop is using that powerful, shorter frame. Last time they will crest this hill nearing 8,000 meters, and he's putting some distance between him and Chilanga. Oh, just a masterful sprint up the hill for Vincent Kiprop. Driving those legs, and this may have been strategic from the beginning, knowing what this course would give him. Now the question will be, will the energy that he's used to open up this lead be used too early and too much, or will Chilanga have enough in the tank to be able to run him down? But right now, Vincent Kiprop is running away from his rival and looking to take away the title that he was denied a year ago. Still 2,000 meters or so as they cross over the 8,000 meter checkpoint here in just a moment. They have just reached it. They'll come up to the top of this hill, this rise, turn to the right, hook back around, and then head to a finish line smack dab in the middle of this Abbey course property. But look at the distance that Kiprop has put on Alfred Chilanga, who I have to imagine was a little bit surprised that Kiprop was able to make such a bold move on that rise. Now the question is, will the fitness keep up for the sophomore from Missouri Southern, and does Chilanga have any sort of push in him to try and run him down here in the last 2,000 meters? Splits at 6.7K. So that was as the runner sort of turned towards that start line. Adams State and Grand Valley State tied at 51 apiece. That surge by Chris May for the Lakers, joining Zach Panning, and Panning's overtaking of William Reyes from Chico State helping things. Colorado Mines has fought back into a third position, but they are 91 points behind the two tied for the lead at 6.7 kilometers. Adams State looking for their 12th national championship. Grand Valley State, who were runner-up in 2013 and 2014, trying to do what Colorado Mines did a year ago, deny Adams State the national championship in winning their first. The 8K splits will be coming in a moment. We'll see if that tied position between Adams State and Grand Valley State would have changed. Now, one thing to also look for, and there's a lot to be decided before the end of this race, but the depth right now that the Lakers of GVSU are running with, tied with Adams State at 51 apiece, but their number 6 runner right now for GVSU shown in 27th position. For the Grizzlies of Adams State in the 57th position. So the Lakers running with a bit more depth right now at the front, and again, that could prove big if, by some miracle, a tie right now on the board remains tied at the end of this race. But again, that split was still with 3,300 meters to go. Now the 8K split starting to come in, and it is Grand Valley State who has pulled ahead. 32, the point shown right now. Again, these are very quick splits that are coming in. We will update them as we get a little bit more data coming into our scoring position. It is Grand Valley State with 43 points, Adams State at 50, the total. The Lakers in positions 3, 6, 8, 12, and 14. A dominating performance right now. We mentioned they were going to have to get something good out of Chris May. He's given him that. He's the second runner for the Lakers, but Nate Orndorff in 11th position right now. Bryce Bradley in 17th. Trevor Sharness in 19th. You have 5 runners right now running inside the top 20. And then when you factor out the individuals in team positioning shown in 3rd, 6th, 8th, 13th, and 15th for Adams State, the Grizzlies, they're getting a great run by Sidney Gitabude, who is second right now on the course in team standing. But 25th position right now on the course is Chandler Reed. He may be the one, the number 5 counting runner for Adams State, that needs to make up a little bit of ground if the Grizzlies are going to catch the Lakers. Colorado Mines, the Ore Diggers, the defending champions, the South Central Region champions, look to be a bit too far behind at this point with 2,000 meters to go. 148 points shown. This has turned into a 2-team race. It is a one-man race, however, at the front. You are getting a front row seat to Vincent Kiprop, who is running away from this race. No sign of Alfred Chilanga coming behind, and Kiprop is strolling towards a national championship. There is Chilanga, the 2015 champ, who was left to eat the dust of Kiprop as he won the battle up the biggest climb of this Abbey course layout. Took things over and is in full control as he's approaching the finish line here in the next few seconds. A long run back. It was James Ngandu who was there in 3rd. He's still maintaining that 3rd position, but there you can see the gap all the way back. He takes a peek over his left shoulder to understand where things are, and here comes Sidney Gitabude, and look at who is right there on his back heel. It is Zach Panning who has caught him. Grand Valley State, who is leading Adams State, and if Panning can overtake Gitabude, it would be almost salt in the wound to the Grizzlies. What a run for the sophomore from GVSU, who is 5th in the Midwest, conserved a little bit of energy in that team strategy race, 2nd in the GLIAC this year. And we head up to the start-finish line where the applause is out for Vincent Kiprop. A masterful run today. He puts the afterburners on to win his first ever cross-country national championship. He lost by 9 seconds a year ago. He is going to exact revenge on Alfred Chilanga, and after winning the regional by a minute 23, it's going to be a dominating national championship performance. Whether it was the heat or the hills, we will not know until Alfred Chilanga speaks at the end of this race, but the 2015 national champions couldn't maintain the pace in the 3rd pass of this path to finish 2nd in this one. Here comes James Ngandu from Tiffin. Boy, did a good job to hang with that lead pack and fights his way through to get 3rd place. And here comes Sidney Gitabude. He's going to hold off Panning. It looks like Panning's making a late charge, but the sprint by Gitabude gets him across the line first. And Panning and Gitabude will just turn around and watch and see what happens with their teammates coming behind him. Again, Grand Valley State has led at the last 2 splits. The great run by Zach Panning. That will be a 3rd place finish in the team counting standings. Gitabude finishing 2nd in the team count, as Vincent Kiprop and the rest of his Missouri Southern team is here. Here comes the final sprint. There's William Reyes from Chico State. Good run. He sort of stuck in that 5th position most of the race, ends up 6th in this one. But look at this final charge from the Grizzlies of Adams State. A couple of Grizzlies across the line before Chris May and the rest of GVSU comes. Here comes another late charge, a good run for Adams State as they get another runner across. And it's going to be really down to the wire here. We had mentioned where Adams State was relying on Kyle Masterson to be able to get in. He's able to cross through off of a good sprint. But just in the video that we're able to give you and see these last ones coming across, it looks as if that final sprint by the Grizzlies was impressive. Early splits coming in. Panning across in 5th for Grand Valley State. May in 10th. Orndorff in 12th. Trevor Sharness in 18th position. Adams State shown in 2nd, 6th, 10th, 15th, and 28th. Again, this is very unofficial, but with all the runners across the line right now, Grand Valley State is shown right now in first position by 12 points. So Laker fans watching up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, crossing their fingers and hoping that these results may hold from where it was. That was the split at 8.8. But waiting for the final splits to come through. Was officially a 12-position lead for Grand Valley State with 1,200 meters to go. But we saw the late charge, the late sprint by the Grizzlies of Adams State, who know how to finish races, the 11-time national champions. Maybe even more impressive, the fact that they entered this race on a streak where they had finished either first or second in the national championship for 13 straight years. That looks like it's going to hold, but right now the question is, will it be in first or will it be in second? And we know the individuals, but we are not getting team splits right now. Now we get the first ones coming in, and the Grizzlies on the first splits that we've seen have overtaken Grand Valley State. Unofficially, a 14-point cushion shown in positions 2, 6, 7, 12, and 17. An incredible final run down the stretch by Chandler Reed, who gains 4 positions since the last split. And for Grand Valley State, trying to finish strong, every single runner with the exception of Zach Panning lost ground in the last 1,200 meters, shown in 5th, 10th, 12th, 18th, and Roy Mock running in 48th position. Maybe the one that cuts Grand Valley State, as they are shown in 3rd, 8th, 10th, 13th, and 38th position after having so much depth at the splits throughout the race. More adjustments coming through right now, but Adams State right now unofficially shown across in first position. And again, this is all changing. There will be replays. We'll look at the video, the still photos, if it comes to that, of who crossed at what time. But just the eye test alone, as you saw the runners coming across the finish line, you just saw that great sprint from all of the Grizzlies. Gidabude winning the sprint against Zach Panning. Kyle Masterson, who appears to have gained 4 positions in that last 1,000 meters. Lucio Ramirez looks to be in position for a top 10 and an All-American position. Cale Adams, Chandler Reed, all with great sprints. The top 5 across for Adams State. And we will wait for the official word. But as more runners come across, the data is factored through. There are a number of adjustments to the scoring. One thing has not changed, and that is Adams State continues to be shown in the first position. Here are the ones we know about, at least on the individual side, as we will give them to you here. Vincent Kiprop runs a brilliant race, a nearly 30-second victory after being denied by 9 seconds a year ago. James Gadu was strong at the beginning, was able to maintain position with that early pack, the 3 that went out, but just couldn't maintain the pace that Kiprop would set and leave Chilanga in his dust. Sidney Gidabude was challenged by Zach Panning late, but wins the sprint to finish 4th. And for Panning, who was 5th a year ago, another 5th place finish for the sophomore from Grand Valley State. Brilliant run today from William Reyes. His team sprinted out to an early lead and he did not give up on that pace. You saw the rest of the top 10. Again, timing still sorting its way out, and Adams State's lead continues to be comfortable. Shown right now in first position with 54 as the total. Grand Valley State's position at 79. If that is where it ends up, the Lakers would have lost 30 positions in the last 1,200 meters, while Adams State gained 7. And again, this is very unofficial, but getting to the point in that gap that is a bit more comfortable if you're a Grizzlies fan in search of your 12th national championship. Again, just getting started here on NCAA.com. The women's 6,000 meter race is about 30 minutes away, where Adams State is the heavy favorite, you would think, in that one, seeking their 17th national championship. But even the minds on some of the ladies getting set to run in that one may be on their male teammates who may have just captured their 12th national championship. And if they did, it was with a brilliant final 1,000-meter surge. Here are the unofficial results as they are right now. It turned into a two-team race over the last 3,000 meters. Grand Valley State held the edge with just 1,200 meters to go. Those last splits again had Grand Valley State ahead by 12 positions on the course, shown in 3rd, 7th, 8th, 14th, and 17th, but at the final split, losing significant ground on the tail end, including Waimaku fell to 48th position for Grand Valley State. But Adams State shown in positions 2, 6, 7, 14, and 25, giving you that 54-point unofficial tally right now. Colorado Mines was never really at the top of the board today at any split. And the Ore Diggers will have to settle for what it appears to be a top 3 podium finish here in this one today. Chico State, great sprint out to the front for the Wildcats, who have never finished better than 3rd in this national championship. Looks like it will not be better than that this year. And Alaska Anchorage, a close 3rd a year ago in 5th position. What a race. Wow. How about that surge at the end for the Grizzlies of Adams State? Again, very unofficial at this point in time, but as more and more data comes into our position here, it looks as if the Grizzlies indeed a champion for the 12th time in program history. Now the ladies with a chance to do something that is rarely done, that is to get the double, although for the storied program at Adams State, that is certainly an opportunity. Congratulations to Vincent Kiprop. What a masterful race. Took the lead at about 500 meters, set that early pace, and then back around on the track for the 3rd time on that rise, is able to put some distance between him and Chilanga and never looked back, avenging the loss from a year ago. That is a rivalry to really keep an eye on over the next couple of years. All right, more unofficial results coming in. We're going to step aside for a moment, get set for the women's 6,000-meter race. We'll also try and get official results on the men's side. Looking good right now if you're a fan of the Grizzlies from Adams State, on the verge of perhaps their 12th national championship. Back with you after this.
It's my honor to welcome the NCAA committee. Of course, they have worked very, very hard over the course of the last several months in preparation. And if you will do me a favor, I will ask that you also give St. Leo and the Tampa Sports Commission a nice round of applause as they put on a fantastic championship. Our ceremony is going to begin today with our top 15 individual finishers in the men's 10,000-meter race. Claire Lessinger from the Sports Commission is going to be presenting these individual awards for us. And certainly she has worked very, very hard for the championship, so she's earned the right to stand up there and help these guys with their hardware. 15th place finisher, a junior from West Texas A&M. His time was 30:45 today. Jeffrey Kiprop. 14th place finisher today, a sophomore from American International. His time, 30 minutes, 43 seconds. Leaky Kutkowski. 13th place finisher today, a senior from Alaska Anchorage. His time, 30 minutes, 41 seconds. Phil Ramirez. Your 12th place finisher, a senior from Grand Valley State. His time, 30 minutes, 40 seconds. Nate Orndorff. Your 11th place finisher, a junior from Chico State. His time, 30 minutes, 39 seconds. Kyle Medina. Tenth place finisher, a senior from Grand Valley State. 30:37 the time for Chris May. Your 9th place finisher, a junior from Adams State. 30:36 the time for Lucio Ramirez. Your 8th place finisher, a senior from Adams State. 30:35 the time for Kyle Masterson.
Thank you, Carl.
7th place finisher, a senior from Western State. 30:34 the time for Kiefer Johnson. Maybe.
Hey, what are you doing later?
6th place finisher, a senior from Chico State. His time, 30:33. William Reyes.
Yeah. Hey, do your job. Do it well.
5th place finisher, a sophomore from Grand Valley State. 29:58 the time for Zach Panning. Your 4th place finisher, a sophomore from Adams State. 29:56 the time for Sydney Kidabadai. Your 3rd place finisher, a senior from Tiffin. 29:52 the time for James Gondu. Your 2nd place finisher today, a sophomore from Shorter. His time, 29:36. Alfred Chilinga. And your individual champion with a time of 29 minutes, 7 seconds from the Lions of Missouri Southern State, Vincent Kiprop.
Vincent, this way. Right here, eyes right here, Vincent.
And as you can hear, and that 4 sophomores in the top 5. The future's pretty bright for what we're going to see here in the next few years, no question about it. The men's Division II National Championships. Again, let's give them a nice round of applause. These are your top 15. this time, we want to go right into our men's team awards. Your top 10 teams today. 10th place finisher with 330 points was Saginaw Valley. 9th was Cal State University of Pueblo with 322. Cal Poly Pomona 311 for 8th. Missouri Southern was 7th with 283. 6th place was Western State with 235. 222 for Alaska Anchorage in 5th. And receiving their award from Coach Andy Town from Hillsdale, stepping to the stage, Chico State with 166 points.
Sorry.
And Coach Gary Town and his team had a very solid season coming in here. West Region champions and the CCAA champion, keeping the streak alive with their conference. The Wildcats from Chico State with 166 points, led by Will Reyes' finish. Let's give them a nice round of applause again, your third place finisher, Chico State. The third place finisher today with a total of 153 points, receiving their award from Lauren Marcus from the committee, Colorado Mines, the Ore Diggers, and Chris Singer's team. Last year's national champions were the Ore Diggers. They come back, solid performance, finishing on the podium again with a third place finish, 153 points. And again, let's give them a nice round of applause. Your third place finishers today with 153 points, Colorado Mines. The 2016 runner-up with a team point total of 79 points. The Lakers from Grand Valley State, Jerry Marcus returns from Highland Valley, Michigan. And again, let's give your Lickers a nice round of applause. Second place finishers today, 79 points. Put up quite the battle there.
Hey, excuse me.
The award was presented by Kelly Kish, of course, from the NCAA committee.
You're good there. Thank you.
Yeah, hey Zach! Hey Sam! Yeah! Floppy hand. Floppy hand wave. Yeah, there it is. I got the most. One more wave.
And the 2016 NCAA Division II Men's Cross Country Team Champion with a total of 54 points. This award is going to be presented by Preston Gray, Chair of the NCAA Committee. And he's going to give the award to the Grizzlies from Adams State in Alamosa, Colorado. Coach Damon Martin and his Grizzlies defend their championship from a year ago.
Nice one right here, guys. Sorry.
And again, let's give them a nice round of applause. The Grizzlies from Adams State. Good champions today. Very impressive again. Coach Martin, 54 points the total. And we'll transition from our